Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat dan para penonton di Indonesia, selamat pagi. Welcome po sa isa na namang episode ng online series ni Inang Pamantasan kung saan ang pagkatuto ay walang hangganan. Ito ang PNU Talks. Ako nga pala si Lemuel Al Rivera at ako ang inyong Learning from Home buddy sa episode na ito. I-comment ang inyong mga katanungan at kuro-kuro tungkol sa episode natin ngayong araw. Huwag kalimutang i-like at i-share ang ating episode. I completed Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics at Philippine Normal University, Isabela Campus, now known as Philippine Normal University North Luzon. I currently serve as the principal of preschool, primary school, secondary school, and junior college of Bina Bangsa School, Bandung in Indonesia.
The moment I learned about this program of the Philippine Normal University, I immediately visited the page and followed. Since then, I have been listening to talks delivered by alumni from different parts of the world discussing different topics that are relevant to what they are currently doing. It is amazing to know that graduates of the Philippine Normal University do not stop learning, and they continue to pursue their interests and develop their skills. This, in fact, is the reason why I feel blessed to be part of a school in Indonesia that does not only focus on academic excellence. The main mission of my school, Bina Bangsa School, Bandung, is to nurture lifelong learners. Our goal is to provide quality education to the younger generation, one that will equip them with skills that they need to thrive in the uncertainties of the future. Moving on, I would like to thank Dr. Madonna Castro Gonzalez for this opportunity and of course to the organizers of PNU Talks as a whole. My topic is Teaching Abroad, a Personal Journey. I chose this topic because personally, I learn more from the experiences of other people, especially the ones I look up to. These experiences are not readily available in the internet. And so I want to share my own journey and hope that you learn a thing or two. I would also like to give credit to my colleagues who share their thoughts and ideas, which I will also be mentioning in this talk. Studying in the Philippine Normal University was never an option for me. I set my eyes on sitting in the classrooms of any of the popular universities in Manila. I am sure that many of my classmates can relate to that. However, the stars did not align for that to happen, for most of us actually. I ended up going to the Philippine Normal University to become a teacher. PNU was a different world from what I grew up with. It was diverse, and I needed to be more proactive to survive. I was not prepared to the norms, and I had to learn them myself and adjust to the system. I did not realize, but the training to become a teacher actually happens on the first day you step inside and immerse yourself into the community. Complying to the requirements and completing assignments were just my main goal at first, until I heard about seniors who were making the university proud by receiving accolades from award-giving organizations in the region. I looked up to them and my focus changed. I wanted to be just like them someday. Since then, every semester, I wanted to get higher general average than the previous semester until I reached my goals and graduated just as planned. Was it easy? No. Was it hard? No. Nothing is easy at the beginning and nothing is hard if you prepare and work hard for it.
Is studying in Philippine Normal University for 4 years enough for you to be a good teacher?
My answer is no. But it is enough for you to know that being a good teacher means you should never stop learning. It is enough for you to know that nothing is permanent, and for you to survive, you have to be open to changes and adapt.
How did I end up teaching abroad?
I worked in the Philippines for 3 years, 1 year in Liceo de Buenavista in Bulacan, and 2 years in Alicia National High School in Isabela. I then joined my current school on my 4th year of teaching. I applied for a teaching job abroad because I wanted to work in a different environment. I wanted also to meet different people from different parts of the world Of course, I wanted to learn new skills and be globally competitive.
So what is the main purpose of teachers who go abroad to work?
Teachers who go abroad have different goals. Let us see what others say about their goal in working abroad. And when I mention teachers, I am referring to some of the teachers in my school. 100% of the teachers said teaching abroad is a way for them to earn a more competitive salary. About 56% said they want to gain experience and improve their teaching skills. And about 10% was interested in understanding different cultures in a foreign land. I go with 100% of teachers. You see, I was very young when I left the Philippines to work here in Indonesia. I was just 21, and I guess when you are that young, getting a higher salary is very attractive. Many of my friends and relatives said that had I stayed and waited for a permanent position in public school, I would have been working in the division office already. But I do not regret my decision. I really did not see myself going up the ladder of leadership back then. So leaving to work abroad was not a difficult decision to make.
Why did I choose Indonesia? Did I consider other countries as well?
About 56% of the teachers have friends or relatives in Indonesia. About 33% chose Indonesia as it is closer to the Philippines. About 10% know that there are many Filipinos working here. Other preferred countries are Japan, South Korea, China, Kazakhstan, Singapore, Austria, and the US. Personally, I did not have any preference when I came here. To be able to work in a different environment, experience a different culture, and meet people of different nationalities was very exciting for me. I would love to experience teaching in South Korea or Thailand if given a chance.
What are the challenges in teaching abroad?
Number 1, being introduced to a different culture. Well, when you move to a foreign land, you have to be aware that the way of living is definitely different from what you are used to in one way or another. Indonesia is a conservative country, so you really have to know what is polite or not. For example, touching the head of a student for whatever purpose you have is deemed to be impolite. Number 2 is adapting to a different education system. Most of the international schools in Indonesia are offering International General Certificate for Secondary Education developed by the University of Cambridge International Examinations or International Baccalaureate. Many of the international preschool and primary schools adopt the Singapore curriculum as well. So, teachers from the Philippines who have knowledge of these programs have higher chances of landing into a teaching position abroad. Number 3, being physically away from your family. It is one of the sacrifices that you have to make. Not being able to be physically present during important occasions of your family. Your family will not be able to take care of you when you are sick. And you cannot give them a hug when they need one. Or when you need one, they cannot give you a hug. Number 4 is food. Different people have different tastes. Although some get used to it, some don't. So some of us actually end up filling up our luggages with instant noodles and canned goods from the Philippines. Number 5 is adjusting to the demand of work. When you decide to teach abroad, you have to be willing to accept jobs that are not even related to what you have agreed to do. Yes, your main job is to teach your subject, but schools may need you to do things other than that. As for me, I taught primary science, primary maths, research skills for primary students, and secondary IT during my first year of teaching here. Aside from that, I was also a co-curricular moderator. On top of that, we are also expected to give remedial lessons and enrichment classes, organize events, and do some promotional activities. Looking back, I can't imagine how I managed to do all those things, but I'm actually thankful for that experience as it made me more flexible. And last but not the least is learning the language. Indonesia is not like the Philippines, Singapore, or Malaysia where the English language is widely spoken. You really need to learn the basic words for you to be able to explore the place with confidence.
How do you think one can cope with the challenges?
Okay, first, you need to have an open mind to accept the changes and be able to adapt with the culture and system without compromising your principles. Reach out to people, make friends, talk to them, and keep them as your support system. Third is take up a hobby. Be it hiking, going to the gym, cooking, etc. There's a lot of things that you can actually do. Fourth is communicate with family as often as possible. Next, learn the language. Just like what I said, it will give you more confidence to explore and enjoy the place. By speaking their language, it will also be easier for you to communicate with the locals and join their activities. Involve yourself in community service and church activities as well. And lastly, join trainings and workshops that will enhance your teaching skills. Just because you have been teaching for years now does not mean you already know everything. You need to innovate and contribute something new that will value add to your company.
Is there any difference between teaching abroad and teaching in the Philippines?
Other than the curriculum and staff composition, teaching in Indonesia is pretty much the same as in the Philippines. For as long as you are flexible and adaptable, you will get used to the system. It also depends on which system you are coming from. The teachers who came from the national school system in the Philippines said that working in an international school abroad is definitely more challenging. However, it can also make one more creative and adaptive to current technologies.
What are the things that you consider when making decisions about your career abroad?
Teachers abroad actually consider the following when they are making decisions that will affect their career. First is financial stability. I think this is not only for teachers abroad. We have to make sure that we can support our lifestyle with the money that we make. Career path. I would like to say that if you are to move to another school, make sure that you are taking up a position that will give you more opportunities to grow. Otherwise, consider the first point. Third is culture. I did not consider this when deciding to come here to work, but fortunately, Indonesia's culture is not so much different from our culture in the Philippines. It is important for you to know more about the culture of the country you are planning to work in before sealing the deal. At the end of the day, it is your choice. Fourth is the weather. This is actually a personal preference that needs to be considered. It just depends on you. Distance. Some teachers choose Asian countries because they can go back to the Philippines during school breaks. However, if a year or two of not going back to the Philippines is fine with you, then working in as far as America should be okay. Number 6 is job satisfaction. There are also some teachers who do not mind the salary or professional development as long as they're happy with what they are doing. And last in my list is professional development. More than anything else, this is my personal consideration when making decisions for my career. I've been teaching in the same school for 12 years now. Next academic year will be my 13th year of teaching here in Indonesia. Although I never transferred to another school, I applied a few times to see if it is worth the risk. I ended up staying in my current school as I saw a clearer career path for me. I started as a classroom teacher, became a department head, a vice principal, and now a principal.
What skills or qualities do you think an incoming teacher should have to be able to succeed in teaching abroad?
If we were to ask seasoned teachers this question, I'm sure we'll be able to make a very long list. But for me, the following are the most important skills or qualities a teacher should have. Number 1 is the teacher has to be competent. You must know what you are doing. You cannot make mistakes and always say, charge it to experience. Yes, we learn from experience, but not doing what you are hired to do right is not a valid excuse. The teacher also has to have the willingness to unlearn and learn new things. When you decide to take on a new job, keep in mind that you are entering a new system and you must be willing to unlearn the old system you are used to. understand the new system and adapt. That is why it is very important that you need to know what you are getting yourself into before sealing the deal. Make sure that you only consider teaching abroad if all of your considerations are addressed and conditions are met. The teacher also has to be open to changes and challenges. One of your goals in teaching abroad should be to acquire new skills. Do not be stagnant. Find ways to improve yourself as you are not going to get any younger. Participate in as many activities as possible. If you are new to it, ask someone to help you. You need to build your credentials. There are a few whose credentials are very good, but they are not evident in their work. So make sure that your capabilities and your credentials match. And lastly, I would say the teacher has to be culturally sensitive. The world does not revolve around you, I tell you. Every culture is as important and unique as yours. So working with other people coming from different backgrounds will be shocking at some point as you will do things differently. You need to understand where each and everyone is coming from and always bring yourselves to a neutral ground where no one gets offended, as it is important that you keep a healthy working relationship with everyone in your workplace. I think these 4 items I have just mentioned already encompass all the necessary skills or qualities a teacher should possess to be successful.
To end my talk, I would like to say, do not compare your journey with anyone. Just as we cannot take the same space, at the same time, we can also not be taking the same exact path. Create your own path according to your own choices, not according to what others tell you or what others have taken. Make your own choice. We always have a choice. Sa muli, ako po si Lemuel Al Rivera at sumainyo ang PNU Talks. Maraming salamat po, terima kasih.